Hello, good morning. Today, as a peacekeeper, I will share my opinions resolving the dispute of Palestine and Israel, taking data from media, online, Wikipedia, Britannica, etc. Recent Gaza and Israel war has been going on since more than 1 year, where more than 50,000 Palestinians have been already died with huge casualties like injuries and economic infrastructure destructions, as well as more than 1,000 Israeli soldiers have been also died with physical casualties. It is 77 years long-standing dispute between them and have died often million people with huge casualties like injuries and economic infrastructure destructions, losing prosperity and peace. In fact, the problem was started especially since 1947 when on 29 November 1947 the United Nations General Assembly adopted a plan to divide the territory of Palestine administered by the British government mandate between 56% Jews and 43% Palestinian Arabs. It gave Jerusalem the status of an international city where Arab countries, including Palestinians, refused the proposal and Israel accepted the proposal. On May 14, 1948, when the British mandate or rule in Palestine ended, Ben Gurion officially declared the independent state of Israel with Palestine within Palestine land. US government, US President Mr. Truman immediately recognized it on May 15, 1948. The armies of the Arab League members Egypt, Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, and Iraq entered the Palestinian territories and engaged in war with the army of the newly declared State of Israel. As a result, the Arab countries signed an armistice agreement between February and July 1949. Moreover, Second World War ended with the defeat of German-Japanese Axis in 1945. The fresh memory of the horrors of the Holocaust in Europe captured the sympathy of the whole world. As a result, the task of establishing a Jewish state became much easier. It is also known the first World Zionist Congress was held in Basel, Switzerland in August 1897 at the initiative of Austrian Jewish journalist, playwright, and politician Theodor Hagel. The three-day conference adopted the outline of formation of a separate independent state for Jews only. Incidentally, the term Zionism was introduced by the Austrian writer Nathan Barenboim in 1895. The British mandate for Palestine had a far-reaching purpose. On November 2, 1917, British Foreign Secretary Lord Arthur Balfour wrote a Zionist leader, Baron Rothschild, in a 67-word letter that the British government would do whatever was necessary to establish a national home for the Jews in Palestine. In 1882 and 1904, significant numbers of Jews from Russia and Europe immigrated to Ottoman Palestine. The British government, as a team leader, was given the responsibility to implement the Balfour Declaration at the San Remo Conference with Allied powers support, including United States. They also started buying land there. Besides, there were still Jews and Christians living there along with Muslims. People of these three religions had been living in this land for more than 1,000 years. A commission of American experts submitted a detailed report to US President Mr. Wilson on January 12, 1919, recommending that a national home for the Jews be established in Palestine under the British mandate and that all Jews in the world be appealed to come and live in Palestine. They should be given all kinds of help and cooperation. In 1920, the prime ministers of Great Britain, France, and Italy, along with representatives of the governments of Japan, Belgium, and Greece, met in San Remo, Italy, to divide up the shattered Ottoman Empire after World War I. It was decided that Syria would be governed by the France mandate and Palestine and Mesopotamia or Iraq by the British mandate. This mandate was ratified by the League of Nations in 1922. Meanwhile, in 1923, Ottoman Caliphate or Sultanate in Turkey was officially abolished by Kemal Atatürk, though on August 10, 1840, British Prime Minister Palmerston wrote to British ambassador to Turkey, the Jews of Europe are very wealthy, seeking an own independent state, and they want to go to Palestine under the supervision and cooperation of Ottoman Emperor. On March 13, 1916, the British embassy in Petrograd, the former capital of Russia, sent a letter to Russian foreign minister asking for Russian views on the status of Jews in Palestine. Even British policymakers thought that Britain is a business community. It needs Jewish state in Palestine to expand its business across the world. In US stand, one within three groups of United States policymakers expressed their concern on its procurement of oil process from Arab raised bad relation with Arab Muslims. When Palestinians began large-scale protests in 1933, the British government severely suppressed them. At the same time, various plans and activities to establish an independent Jewish state in Palestine continued. As part of this, the Pale Commission, appointed by the British government in 1937, recommended the division of Palestine into two, with 75% Arab and the rest Jews. However, it was also proposed that Jerusalem, the holy site of three religions, along with Jaffa, be placed under British mandate and international supervision. Both Arab and Jewish sides rejected this proposal. In fact, British-led ally mostly divided entire world, forming 200 independent countries with people's desire under its divide and rule policy. During the war, in 1942, the Zionist Conference in Baltimore, USA, adopted a declaration of the establishment of a Jewish state in Palestine. In December 1945, the Anglo-American Committee was formed to consider the problems of the Jews in Europe and the Palestine problem. Both America and Britain could play an important role in implementing these objectives. Even scientist Albert Einstein's theological theoretical groundwork for nuclear physics laid down Manhattan Project for making nuclear bomb provided a great contribution winning into Second World War, and US President wrote letter British Prime Minister to proceed soon forming Jewish state in Palestine after winning the Second World War. Alongside scientist Einstein also requested to form Israeli independent state in Palestine. At the end of the August 1967, after 6 days war, Arab leaders met in Khartoum in response to the war to discuss the Arab position towards Israel. They reached consensus that there should be no recognition, no peace, and no negotiations with the state of Israel, the so-called three no's. In the past 77 years, there have been four Arab-Israeli wars. In each war, the Arabs were defeated, the Palestinians were gradually cornered in their own land. According to the United Nations and its decision, these Palestinians were supposed to return to their own land, but they were never able to return. On the other hand, those who remain in the Palestinian territories have had to live under Israeli occupation, oppression, and massacres for generations. However, I will further discuss in my next episode